So in this episode, we I called it rationalizing our existence because I feel like a lot of the actions that we do as women is trying to rationalize who we are and why we're here and why we do the things we do, when in all actuality we're just valuable because we exist, because we are Black women, because of that title, what we bring to the table, who we are at the core, and our souls and our minds and our bodies, how we show up for others. We're valued because we exist, period. So I think rationalizing our existence is something that we've learned to do, but maybe something we have to unlearn. What does it mean to you to exist as a Black woman, daughter, mother, partner, and or friend?
This topic is so on point because I do think very much of what I experience and what we experience is tied to the roles that we play and how we show up for other people. So I know very much, like, I have this piece floating in my head that I have to write called safety. And I am definitely a person that operates from a place where I recognize myself and aspire also to be a safe place for other people. And I think that that is a key part of my existence that I associate myself with. And I also think that it's a part of me that, like, I don't know how to, like, detach from. Like, I don't know how to think of myself as a little bit more spicy, a little bit more radical, a little less predictable. It's a very scary thing for me because I'm used to being like, I'm neutral. I'm the calm surface of the water while the turmoil is happening above and below. And so I think there's a piece of me that's at this point now where I have to break out of that in order to really, like, actualize who I'm intended to be, because I'm not intended to just kind of sit in a neat little box. So I would say what it has meant is knowing that role, knowing how to be safe and be loving and be accepting and being kind of predictable and solid, but allowing myself to be that for me, because often I am not the safest place for myself. Like, I give all my safety away and I give the harshest criticisms to myself. So I think that's something that a lot of us do. We make sure we show up for the others and we don't always show up for ourselves.
I think Erin just nailed the hammer on the nail when she said, I give all my safety away and not always the most safe for myself. And I don't even like that I resonated with that so much. But I think even though you're speaking from your own personal experience, I think that's kind of like a general synopsis of what it means to be a Black woman. What society has said that it means to be a Black woman, to be a safe space, even if you're not a safe space for yourself. But the expectation is that if somebody comes into a room and you as the Black woman is there, you're the safe space. It's that expectation. And I think you were so on point with even saying it's something that you have to kind of try to, like, yes, I'm this, but I'm also this. Like, this is not all that there is me. I was never meant to just be a safe space. I may go through facets and experiences where I am that, but it doesn't, but I can be spicy, or I can be a little bit more not as predictable. Like, I don't know, I don't want to say fly by the seat of your pants, but whatever. Have experiences that you normally don't have before. So that was very, very powerful. I think for me, it goes back to being the hero, like being the fixer, being the healer. My natural gift is healing, like, and so it's very hard sometimes to disassociate with it in all roles. Yeah. And because, like you said, people expect that to be like your everyday show up. Like, I'm a healer today. I'm a healer every day, but it doesn't always mean that I'm fully comfortable or able to operate in that. So I think it's important to kind of know what our strong points are, know what our gifts are, know that maybe this viewpoint of who we are is rooted in our purpose, but that doesn't mean that is the only thing that makes up who we are. So thank you. Yeah, that was good. That was really good. I feel like that needs to be a post to not give your safety away.
Yeah. And I think another thing that comes up as you were talking, what that reminds me of also is that, like, when you're a healer, because I'm the same way, like, I know that my specific energy is healing. Mm-hmm. And what I've found, what I've learned about myself is that when you're a healer, it's difficult for other people to recognize when you need healing. Mm-hmm. And they don't always know how to offer it because, like, you're the healer. Mm-hmm. Like, I come to you for healing. I don't really know how to heal you, you know? And I've also kind of adopted, one of the self-care things that I've adopted is healer, heal thyself. Like, I have to recognize that sometimes I need to go within. Like, it's more reliable for me and more effective for me to go within to find what I need to kind of get back to my level and not look for somebody else to come and save me. You know, I can't put the hero syndrome on anybody else either, you know? So it's, I mean, relationships and people and the dynamics of those things can be so tricky. And I think trying to figure out how to navigate them effectively is, you know, our life's work.
So what does that look like for you, though? You said heal thyself, because I find the same in my life. It really is. And I naturally don't really talk about when I'm going through stuff. I feel like nobody can really help me but me and the divine. So I never thought it really was much of a point to, like, kind of vent things to people. But I noticed because I don't do that, people really do think I'm good all the time. And I'm like, absolutely not. I go through the same motions that you do. And so I found myself at one period in my life really bitter with the fact that I felt like there was no place for me to go to in the moments where I didn't feel like healing myself. So kind of a two-part question. When you go within and you do those self-healing tools, what does that look like for you? And how do you navigate the moments where you just don't feel like, I don't feel like self-healing today? Like, I actually feel like if somebody could pick me up today, that would be great. Like, how do you navigate that?
I think what I've learned as I've gotten older is, like, that going within first is how I figure out which thing I need to do. Because sometimes the response is healer, heal thyself. Okay, go get some silence, go get your favorite food, like, go elsewhere, like, remove yourself from whatever environment you're in, just go be alone. Sometimes that's the thing. Other times I've literally, like, I have entries in my journal that are like, after you write these words, you need to send them to this person, and this person. Like, it's like the guidance comes when I take that time to myself. So it's not always that the answer is I have to go to myself, but sometimes I need that time that's silent enough where I can hear, okay, no, this is the person you should reach out to. Like, that's how I got reconnected with you. Like, spending that time was like, Shawana is the person that you need to reach out to for this thing that you're trying to do, or this next level that you're trying to get to. So it's like just reminding myself that going within and spending that time to center and have some silence is the answer to everything, or at least the stepping stone to the answer, because it's always, that's where I find my most reliable and, like, successful guidance, is spending that time within.
That's good. Y'all listen, y'all hear Erin over here. She dropping some knowledge right now. Okay.
Look, let me tell you how all these things that I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I have to do. That don't mean I do it. Right. That does not mean I do it all the time. That's for sure.
But the awareness that when that back is against the wall, we know we can run to these healing modalities. We can just silence y'all. It's the basics. One of the reasons why I love Erin, guys, I think we talked about on the first episode a little bit, but we met at a retreat that I facilitated with one of my really, really good friends in Maryland. And I think that it's really important because social media and stuff like that, the answers and the tools are always these long drawn out processes. You sign up for this program and, you know, there's these really, really structured ways or resources and techniques for us to get well, to self-develop. But it's the basic things that are the most powerful. Complete silence, introspection, isolating yourself for a little while to really get to the root of the issue, because people can just be distractions. Breathing, like those, I know those three things in itself has saved me from so much disaster, has allowed me to listen and respond versus react, and has kept me from really falling back into some major cycles that I feel like I worked really hard to get out of. Like, had it not been those three basic things, I don't even know if I would have had the capacity to answer the call even when you reached out to me, because while it was a thought in the back of my brain, I really didn't have any intentions on starting the program. And then I was like, okay, this feels significant when Erin reached out. But had I not been doing my own practices to be able to align and connect with her, this whole situation may not even happen. So I'm just really grateful that what it looks like for you are those basic tools, and that you are authentic to say, like, guys, even though I'm aware that even still, that doesn't always mean that we actively walk it out. We're still humans every single day. So that is beautiful.
I mean, everyday struggles and challenges. It's like, you know, I don't know who coined the phrase, but I feel like everybody uses it, like life be lifing. And it's like daily life. Like, you know, okay, I have it in my mind that I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes every morning at some point, because I definitely don't have, currently I don't have the structure that's like, I'm going to get up super early and do everything before everybody else is up. I'm not, that's not me in the morning. We don't have that kind of relationship. So mine is, when everybody leaves out the house, I'm going to spend 10 minutes and I'm going to meditate. Except when something comes up when the people are on the way out the house, and it's like, oh, I forgot I needed to do such and such and such and such. So I need to do that real quick. And then before you know it, the window that I had to myself is gone. So one of the challenges that I've found is, a buzzword that I've been hearing a lot lately is dedication, which is doing something no matter what. Like doing it no matter how you feel, no matter what other obstacles there are. And I was like, what am I dedicated to? I don't know what I'm dedicated to. I'm not dedicated to a meditation practice because I let it go as soon as some other thing comes up. And it's like, okay, I need to make that a priority over this priority that I said I was going to set. So I think for me, the biggest challenge is really like prioritizing the things that I say are important for my well-being. Because those are always, I have this image that one of my coaches told me about. He was like, when you have a whole bunch of stuff on the table, the stuff for you is always on the edges, and it's the first things to fall off. That is absolutely the truth of my existence. And I'm constantly, you know, working and willing myself to rearrange and restructure and reprioritize and really honor the things that I say are important to me for my well-being. And I do not always do a good job of it. I have my cycles where sometimes for a week I was on it, and then one disruption happens and I fall right back off, and I try to pick it back up again another time, and it's like, okay, that time I did it 3 days. Oh, this time I did it for 2 weeks, you know. But it's, you know, it's constant. It's a constant reset. Like, it's not, I'm past the point where I feel like giving up and just missing that I'm able to do it because I know better.
Right.
But it does still, just getting back on the horse each and every time I fall off is what I do.
Yeah. That's powerful. That's powerful. And I think it's worth saying too, that knowing that even with dedicating ourselves to stuff, like when life does life, and giving ourselves that grace to kind of like shift. And I love that you're unapologetic about, you know, I'm not the person that's going to get up before my whole family gets up. It's just not the way my body functions, not the way my life functions. But when they leave, so I think that's important to know realistically what works best for you. Absolutely. For me, I think my everyday struggle around just these different things I've had to unlearn is not feeling like I have to always have a response for things. My roles and the type of work that I do, it's a lot of consulting, and there's a lot of providing the resources or the answers to questions and stuff like that, especially when I was in the counseling field. So I think I almost got programmed to always have some type of response. And where I am in life now, like, God is just really teaching me what it means to really just hold space for people. Even if I feel like I really want to give a response that maybe I think is helpful, or maybe I think that may have helped me through, sometimes just the presence there is enough. Sometimes a response is not needed or required, and I'm not, and this is what is freeing me. I'm not obligated to have the answer. Like, it's not my job. It felt like a demand, you know what I mean? Like, you say you love this person, or you say this, this is the role they have in your life, but you don't have an answer for when they're in these times of needs. Like, just feeling like I gotta be able to show up fully at all times. That hyper, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, just being hyper vigilant. I feel like hyper vigilant. And so while I don't do it anywhere near as much, I still feel like I get a lot of anxiety at times still behind it. Like, I'm practicing my boundaries today. I'm not gonna like overdo or overshow up, but there's still this, oh my God, like, I wonder what they're thinking. I wonder if they feel like I don't love them. Pushing through those. And so therapy is a resource that I use. Having a parent that is an active abuser for substances, that's it can be really hard not to just want to rescue, or just provide some type of solution, or come up with a plan so that a person can find their way. It's like really allowing people to be individuals, and learning that it was kind of ego driven in a lot of ways. But to feel like I'm the answer to somebody's, you know what I mean? Like, actually, you're not. You're not the answer to anyone's prayer. You know what I mean? Sometimes the universe aligns us to assist one another, but ultimately we are our own. We're here to heal ourselves. Like you said, we're our own saviors, and God will put you in spaces with people who will support you through that, who are going to love you through that, who are going to help you grow and grow with you through it, but not literally like provide the answer. And so it's been a beautiful, uncomfortable journey of navigating that on the daily. So
yeah, I feel like there was a period where, like, I was seeing a lot of stuff on social media about that, where it was like, when people come to you for help, or when people are just like venting, and like you're the person that always like wants to make them feel better or whatever. And I was like, I remember feeling almost attacked, because I was like, oh my gosh, I do that. Like, I have this like instinctive desire to help. And when people started talking about how like that wasn't needed, and that wasn't what helped them, and that really like almost made them feel worse, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm thinking I'm helping, and I'm this horrible person, because a lot of it was kind of like pointed, like, this is what narcissists do, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not. So I had to step back, like, okay, I'm not like a serial narcissist that talks about myself all the time. But I think it's what you just said. There's a form of discipline of really being able to like ask yourself, like, what's actually needed from me in this moment. And I don't know if I said this the last time, but one of the questions that I learned to help guide me, that again, I don't always go back to, is what's mine to do in this moment. Like, what am I supposed to do? Is this person asking me for a response? Is this person asking me for just to listen? Like, what is actually being asked of me in this moment? And that is, like you said, like when you start noticing you have like the knee-jerk reaction that says, I'm going to fix this problem for you, or I'm going to say exactly the right thing that's going to make you feel better. Like, once you recognize that that's part of who you are, or part of what you've been conditioned to do, the ability to pause long enough to say, this is not needed right now. What's needed right now is just to be present. It's just to listen. It's just to acknowledge. It's just to accept. It's just to say, I hear you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a broader menu of offerings that we can give to people when we're healers. And I think it takes a lot of discipline to like let go of the tendency to just automatically go to the fix, because like you said, sometimes that's not what's required, that's not what's best, and it's not not what we're obligated to do.
Can you speak to how that how that shows up in physically, because I know for me, I literally feel it in my body. I feel me wanting to whatever, and so when I suppress, like sometimes my body I'll sweat, like I'll start sweating, I'll get like anxiety sweats, or maybe my breath will shorten a bit, or like I feel tingling sensations in my body. Can you speak to how that may manifest physically when you're practicing implementing discipline versus just kind of jumping out there and just spewing out whatever may be pumping in our hearts? How does that kind of translate physically for you?
Honestly, I have to say, I don't even think I know. Like, I think one of the things that I have, and one of the challenges that I have, is listening to my body. Like, I have a tendency to just do. And then when things happen later, like, I don't connect them to activities that I may have engaged in. So it's like later on, it's like, oh, why is my head hurting? Or why are my shoulders feeling all tight? And I'm going through my day and through my emotions without that personal awareness of my physical body, you know? So that's something for me that, like, I aspire to be able to answer, because I know for a fact, I don't pay close enough attention to my physical responses to be able to say, oh, whenever this happens, this is how my body responds. So yeah, working with you and talking to you, like, I'm looking forward to being able to, like, understand more about, like, how our body communicates to us about these things that are not just strenuous physically, but actually like other chemical things and other emotional things that just have that physical impact.
And for me, I never did either for years, especially because up until maybe my son was 8 or 9, I wasn't even really in my body. I was having a out of body experience. Like I was watching myself live life because of the type of trauma I experienced as a child. So I didn't know what that even meant to know, like, to listen to your body. What are you talking about? I didn't even know. So yoga was the practice that really allowed me to be like, you really can. Your body really does tell you what you need. And that's why in our sessions, a lot of times, like I say, 3 or 4 poses of that yoga, because it does kind of help you start really paying attention to your body. So if you're listening, it's not a day, 2-3 day, or even a month thing. It just comes from doing different activities, keeping the body active, and that doesn't always have to be, I don't want anybody to immediately run to working out, because it doesn't always have to be that. It's just movement of the body. That could be dancing, that could be walking, that could be, there's so many ways to keep your body active, but moving your body releases experiences that we store, and it allows space for new things. And while your body is in a place of space, you can feel and signal what's going on, what's where. And so that's kind of like a process or a journey, how I got to where I am. And a good book to read, guys, that kind of talks about that is The Body Keeps the Score.
Now, how are you navigating being worthy simply because it's your birthright?
My biggest tool is self-talk. I think you said it a little bit too, Erin. I don't need haters or critics. I'm my own biggest critic. The worst voice of criticism in my head is my own. So I have to be really intentional about how I talk to myself. If I find myself thinking real, just like, girl, that was stupid, or whatever, it's countering it. And I don't always feel like it, but that's something that I'm dedicated to. We talked about being dedicated to. I think I'm dedicated to my practice, not so much timeline wise, because I think we talked about that too. Like, sometimes the best time for me to do my practice is at night versus the morning, but I am going to practice daily. With me, I have to, if I don't self-talk, if I do not talk to myself with love or with grace, my thoughts take over, because I have an overreactive brain anyway. I'm constantly thinking about what's next, or what's to do, or my son, or my family. Like, it's so much things always going on. And so that is like a non-negotiable. I have to speak kindness to my brain. I think even the family I grew up in, like, my dad is super hard. His expectations are high, very loving guy, but it's just a lot of criticism from a lot of different areas. So I grew up like that. So I gotta give myself that softness. And it's so funny now that it's kind of a norm for me. It's normal for me to even do that with my family. I hear them kind of falling into old ways or thought patterns or ways we used to be, and I'd be like, actually, that's not love. This is love. Actually, that's actually maybe not the healthiest way to process that. Like, you ever try saying these things or doing that? And I see my dad even being open into different ways of thinking about different things where he was so rigid before.
Yeah.
It's true that you start doing that self-healing on self and it trickles right on into your family. So
nice.
So what about you? How are you navigating being worthy just because you are?
I feel like I have two, like, I feel like I live two lives with this because, well, no, I'll take that back. I feel like there is a core center piece of myself that once she decided she was worthy just because she is, like, just because she exists, it's one of those, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it things.
Yeah.
That person lives on the inside. Like, so there's a foundation in my core that knows that truth. Now, I think I spent years kind of, I'll say, with the religious practices and like the religious upbringing that I had, I feel like I developed what I call the unworthiness narrative, where it's like, you're not worthy. No matter what you do, you're never going to be worthy because XYZ. But if you do all of these things, at least you'll be forgiven for your unworthy. I mean, there was just so much of like mixed messaging and just really like a lot of things that were just like ingrained in me for a long time. And it wasn't until I stepped a little bit outside of that I realized that was what it was. It was like a mantra of unworthiness. And then, so once I flipped that, and it's like, no, but I am worthy, just because, like, if I wasn't worthy, I wouldn't be here. And I would have never been created in the first place. Like, my creation makes me worth everything that I'm here for.
Writing that down too.
So it was like, once I knew that, I was like, I can't unknow that. However, back to what I said, my challenges and the things and the discipline and the dedication, the things that I don't always do. I don't always act like that. Like, we are very kindred in the self-talk place. Yeah. The really nasty voice in my head that has all kinds of rough things to say, and I don't always talk back to her and set her straight, but I will say that having the core means I do it faster and I do it more often than I used to. Yeah. So I can recognize growth in myself in seeing that even when I have that moment, like, all I have to do, again, if I take a moment, just take a breath, something flips that switch. That's like, you know better. That's not you. That's not who you are. And reminding myself, like, you are worthy, you are loved, and look at all these things and look what you have to be grateful for. Like, gratitude is that like hardcore reset button. Like, just look at your life and look at the things that you have to be grateful for, and it's like a skin just kind of peels off. Like, this can't stay on me right now because I'm just walking in that gratitude space. So I just work I work at it because it, like you said, it's very easy to go into that mind that's like, what you doing? Who you think you are? Like, why you think somebody gonna listen to you? You're not that. You don't do all of this. You don't look like that. Why would anybody, And it's like, oh, that's the nasty voice. We don't like her. Don't talk. Don't listen to the nasty voice. Yeah.
And she can be nasty.
Oh yes, she has all the things. She knows all the triggers. Yeah, so I'm looking at our topics, and I'll ask you, because I think this is something that I would like to know personally. Okay. What are you actively unlearning these days, right now, that you would say?
Ooh, it's a few of them. I would say, okay, I think this is a good one. I'm gonna share two. So, what it means to be a mother, like my ability to show up for every game, to be able to give him the emotional response that he's looking for, none of that makes me a mother. Because anybody in a healthy period of time can provide that to my son. if they're thinking about it. If somebody is in a good, healthy mental space for long enough to give him what he needs, that can be provided. My son was given to me. God blessed me with my son. He is my son. And it is the love and nurturing I have for him that's never going to change, no matter how I feel about him on the day to day, and the connection and what he provides to me as a son. That is what makes him my son and me his mother. It's not the things that I can do for him. It's not even the ways that I can show up for him. It's who we are existing together. And I've been adapting that mindset more. Now that doesn't stop me from showing up for him at all. Like, I'm still that mom that's gonna be at every game. God willing, because now I'm a lot more busy, so I've missed a few. But I love showing up in those spaces. So it doesn't mean that you eliminate these things or you decrease, because I do feel like in the past I over showed up in ways, or it was past my boundary of even capacity to do, but I did it because I felt like if I didn't, that makes me a bad mother. I no longer succumb to that. Like, if I know I'm burnt out, I show up for my son every day. If I need to miss the soccer game because I need to sleep so I don't pass on way driving there, then that's what I need to do. Like, or if I'm in a place now where he totally understands, if he has 15 games and one of the weekends out of the month I have a job or a gig up in another state, that's okay for me to do that and to miss that one game and FaceTime him after to ask him how it went. I'm still his mother. Like, just things like that. So taking off this worldly society's version of what a good mother is and allow myself to be the type of mother that my son needs. That is something that I actively am unlearning every day. And I hope that wasn't too.
Can we just sit with that for a minute? Because I think for any mother who is listening to this right now, like, all of us need to be able to unlearn that. And I thank you for saying that, because I think that is so powerful and so necessary and so important to be heard from the mouth of someone such as yourself that we can relate to. So I needed to, I know you have another one to share, but I just needed to pause long enough to let myself and the other listeners like sit with that.
And I talk fast anyway because my thoughts are fast. But no, I feel like we all needed to process that, because even in saying it, my mind's gonna try to go jump and do some stuff later. So I'm like, no, let's set in the lessons that we're learning. Let's fully walk this thing out, because that was a big thing for moms. Like, for all the moms I know, you know what I mean? So I felt like it was very necessary to pause on that. That's what took me so long to get it out. I'm like trying to formulate how exactly to say this. Even in my expression, I'm trying to like say it the right way.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's number one. And thank you for us being able to take that moment. The second thing I think I'm actively unlearning, it's just holding. Again, it starts with holding people so. What's the word I'm looking for? We have expectations, and just having these holding people so tightly to them, understanding that we're all human beings living this experience, and it's okay if things do not turn out the way that they're supposed to, if things don't line up the way that it's supposed to, and just really the same way I am experiencing this thing. And a lot of times I don't know what's next, I don't know what's going on. I'm out here literally doing the best I can. Like, people really are doing the best they can, even if that looks like it's not up to par in our eyes. And so that's helped me to not attach so heavily to people. It's helped me to be able to detach. It's like finding this really harmonious way of connecting with people versus like having like this anxious attachment, or like completely just not like non-attached, like shut down and just showing up in transactional ways. So I didn't have any balance with that before. So I'm learning to like, I don't have to be up here or here when it comes to like how I harmonize or how I love people or how I interact with them. Like, I can be on a baseline as far as that's concerned, and like learning what that looks like for me. I'm literally still actively figuring out exactly how that looks, especially when we're talking about like, okay, you got your romantic partnership, you have because that's something new that I'm exploring now. Guys, I'm in a relationship. What? So exploring that part. My connection as far as family, that's the biggest one. It's family. And then just like friends, like learning how to really be a real good friend, because while I thought I was a really, really good friend in the past, I have not always been a really good friend. So learning what that really looks like. So yeah.
Whew. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So let's hear from you. What are you, Erin, actively unlearning?
I think what I'm actively unlearning, and this goes back to what I said and why this piece is swirling in my head, is what does safety actually mean? Because I feel like in different settings and different dynamics, I have a definition of what I think is safe. And I've always been the one, like, I don't rock the boat. I don't want to get my feelings hurt. I don't want to be too high on anybody's radar. Like, I'm happy. Like, let me just chill out in the background where nobody's really paying too much attention to me. And I'm good back here because nobody's looking too close. Nobody's ignoring me. It's kind of a nice middle ground and it's safe. You know, and I feel like I'm being pushed and challenged on a lot of different fronts to unlearn what I perceive as safety and recognize that, you know, if I believe the truth of my worth and my value of being here, and I believe in the reason and the purpose for my creation, then I know that I'm always safe. Like, safety is not something that is, you know, perceived based on external things. Safety is mine to own. I just have to recognize where my safety comes from. And then all of the other, you know, illusions that I've built for myself of what safety means, they can start falling away. So I've really been spending some time reflecting on that. This week in particular has been like, not this week, I would say the past couple of weeks, there've just been like a lot of different things that I thought were very stable and settled and like good, that have been like shaken up. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. I'm not safe. And it's like, aren't you though? So I think really just unlearning and reteaching myself about safety and what it really means and what it looks like. So I'm excited because once the title came, I was like, because when the title for the poem comes, then the other stuff comes after it. So I'm like, I need to put that on paper because that's going to be good. I'm excited about that.
We want to conclude this session today with you guys. We're just leaving you guys with some affirmations. One of the things I like to always touch, I call it point touching. So going back to different points that we said in the episode, I wrote down 2 things that Erin said that I just felt were very, very significant. So in moments where you guys are navigating your everyday life, you're going through these roles, you're unlearning, trying to rationalize your existence, what's your to-dos in the moments you're experiencing? That was one thing that Erin said, and she also stated, my creation makes me worth everything that I'm here for. The fact that I'm here, the fact that I exist, makes me worthy and makes me valuable. So those are just 2 points that I would like to just give back to the listeners to remind you to ask that question as many times as you need to. What's my to-do in this moment? And to remind yourself that the fact that you exist makes you worth it and makes you worthy of everything that you're here for. And my affirmation that I'm going to leave you guys with today is, you are enough. You are enough. So I'm going to spin it to my girl Erin now.
Oh my goodness, you stole all the good ones. Yeah, I think I think for me the affirmation that's coming up is, it goes back to what we talked about. We both talked a lot about healing and being healers and being healing people. So I think I tend to come to, I am a healer and I am healed. Those both come to me, or that comes to me as a complete thought, as something for us to affirm for ourselves, because sometimes we can go to the I'm so broken and I'm so, you know, it's easier to go there. And I think to refute that by speaking over our healing, I think that's what I want to leave with everybody. So I am a healer and I am healed. That's what I want. everyone to think on this week.
Ashe, ashe. All right, guys. So we want to thank you for tuning in with us. And we will catch you guys in the next episode. We hope that you continue to live well, to be well, and to always remember that you are your number one priority. So give yourself time, give yourself grace, and give yourself love.
Indeed, and ashe.
Ashe.